ahead.
Who bears the responsibility for the PBC troubles? Tonight, the former and current management of the produce buying company clash over who is to blame for the company's woes.
The losses didn't start in 2020 or 2021. The losses of PBC started way back in 2013.
We left it in a very solid state, and they have come to mess it up, and it is better and prudent that they own up and then let Cocoa Board.
We have details, and also Finance Ministry's joint technical committee with bondholders set to begin work on the possibility of having investors swap mature principals into treasury bills anytime government is unable to meet its payment obligations.
With the principals, we tabled a recommendation that is more skewed around swapping that for treasury bills as and when they fall due and government hasn't got liquidity enough to pay it off.
We have business, we also have sports, and we'll also hear all about how Joy FM's Drive Time host Lexis Bill talked a suicidal man out of his plan to end it all on live radio.
I don't know what pushed me to just turn on my radio to listen to Joy FM. I even plan of, committing suicide. I'm going through a lot.
We'll hear from the host of the Drive Time, Lexis Bill, who literally stopped his show to attend to the distressed man. We also have Champions League action much later. All the details after this break. Thanks for staying with us here on Newsnight. In our very first story for tonight, there's brewing tension between the former and current management of the embattled produce buying company PBC over who bears responsibility for the company's woes. The once thriving business is now on the verge of collapse after losing almost all of its market shares. Well, according to its audited report cited for 2020, the company lost 1.9 billion cedis within a period of 4 years alone. But both incumbent and SWAL administration say they cannot be blamed for the company's downturn. We'll get to hear from both sides soon on this, but first, here are excerpts of Joy News' latest hotline documentary, PBC Troubles.
In August 2022, a circular copied all staff indicated that payment of salaries would delay due to the current financial challenges facing the company. When we spoke to the staff who pleaded anonymity in November 2022, he told Joy News their salaries delayed for 3 months last year. It was not only difficult for many to fend for themselves, but their families as well.
Staff salary, they were owing us 3 months, but currently they've paid the 3 months. But as we speak, we don't know when our next salary payment is coming, and we have no idea.
He said it was now difficult for staff to access welfare loans from the company, which wasn't the norm in recent past.
Okay, the welfare fund is a revolving fund. So they wrote to us that there are no funds available. So nobody should apply for welfare loan.
So dire is the financial situation that PBC suspended the intake of national service personnel for the 2022-2023 year. In a circular cited by Joy News, the Human Resource Manager William AUC cited the current financial challenges of the company as the reason. In January 2022, PBC wrote to the Ministry of Employment about its intention to restructure the company, including downsizing its staff. It cited the prevailing financial and operational downturn, making it difficult to pay staff and meet its obligations to stakeholders. It said the staff who would be affected by the downsizing are those without establishment. Our sources suggest that when Cocoa Board secured the cocoa syndicated loan last year, it loaned PBC with an estimated 350 million Ghana cedis. Management used 50 million cedis to cover staff remuneration and other administrative expenses. The national projection PBC set for itself for the 2022-2023 main crop season was to purchase 170,000 tons of cocoa. But with the limited funds in PBC's account, this target remains a pipe dream and leaves staff in another boat of uncertainty on what fate hangs on the survival of PBC and possible payment of their remuneration. Joy News visited 3 regions to engage with staff and the purchasing clerks of PBC. A depot manager who pleaded anonymity over fears of victimization, expressed concern over the dip in PBC market shares. He said this had impacted the operations in the regions, citing their inability to purchase cocoa for the main crop season in 2021. According to him, the late release of funds last year to buy cocoa in week 5 of the cocoa season meant competitors had already made significant purchases.
It is true. Anyone challenging this fact is being dishonest. When the 2021-2022 cocoa season commenced, I recall we bought cocoa during February, and that was the last time the head office released money for us to purchase cocoa. We have been given money by Cocoa Board, but the cocoa is finished. Our competitors have bought a chunk of it.
They were compelled to use their shirts and weighing scales to buy cocoa for competitors in order to maintain their customer base.
We were struggling financially. We managed to stay afloat from alternative businesses. Since money wasn't being released, we decided to purchase cocoa from Fudo and Assetnapa. We conducted business with licensed buying companies that had money to give us. We didn't want to lose our customer base.
Well, so these are excerpts of PBC troubles put together by our investigative team. However, the deputy CEO of the PBC, Vivian Bwedi, says the company is drowning in debt as a result of excess borrowing, making it difficult to access loans from the bank. She insists the current woes of the company precedes the current administration.
Listeners, yes, we could say PBC is on the verge of collapse if nothing is done about it. PBC at a point had over 1,000 and almost 1,200 staff working on only PBC alone on our payroll. Currently, we are at around 748, and we even realize that even if we go further, we'll be able to still run this business and be able to. So it's all about management thinking at every given point in time. I don't know what they were thinking then in 2021. And that is when we decided to look at our costs again, and then try to pull down a lot of the cost centers had to go because we realized that we're spending on things that were not the core operations of PBC. So we stopped a lot of that as well. So we pulled the brakes on a lot of expenses, and that is how come I said we made a mega profit of 1.5 million. So we were turning the company around at that point. If you check from 2021. We paid staff salary the whole 12 months. We didn't have any problem with cash flow. In 2022, we had issues. Even at that time, the company was even able to go to CBG to borrow some money to be able to do the pre-seasonal purchases before the Cocoa Board seed fund came. So we realized that the company, yes, there were things that were going right for us. The losses didn't start in 2020 or 2021. The losses of PBC started way back in 2013. And that is where I would want everybody to know that it's not as it's being portrayed that the current management is the cause of the company's downward trend of the market share.
Well, so you've heard the deputy CEO for the produce buying company, Evans. Let's bring in the former chief executive officer of the PBC, Nana Ejenim Boateng. Well, we started this conversation on the midday news, and Ms. Ejenim Boateng, Nana, we're grateful for your time once again here on Newsnight. So you mentioned earlier that you left the company in a solid state. We've heard the PBC say their woes did not start just in 2020 or 2021, 2013, which is under your period. How is it that a solid state that you left it will be seeing this kind of downward trend?
Good evening again, and MFI and your cherished viewers and listeners. As I reiterated in the 12 o'clock news, personally, I don't have any issue with anybody. It was an issue where somebody was reporting of a 2016 issue of 30.8, which he won a night in a single digit. I wouldn't have come in if she had not referred us to the 2013. And during the afternoon discourse, I did mention it to you that it is not true. And I shared something with your guys, and I don't know if they've gotten it to you. In 2013-14, CPC purchased 294,261 tons, which is 32% market share. In 2014-15, we purchased 230,990, which is 31%. In 2015-16, we purchased 240,297 tons, which is 31%. In 2016-17, we purchased 271,000 tons, which is 29%. When I was leaving, courtesy the President Nana Dankwa to transfer me to CPC in September 2017, we had already discussed with the banks and virtually done all the guarantees for them. So in the 2017-18, they got 23%. When they were on their own to move into 2018-19, it came to 17%, and that is what has come down now to 8%. What is my junior sister saying? The core business of the LBC is that you are an agent of Cocoa Board. So all those cost centers of staff costs, office costs, utility, primary evacuation, all those are part of your buyer's margin. So if she's saying she made a profit of 1.5 million, you heard her say that she's cut some costs. You can check from anybody. Mm-hmm. This management has stopped sending money to them even to pay utilities, office costs, and even primary evacuation. So if granted without admitting that even if primary evacuation is 5 cedis a bag, and 16 bags make a ton, and even that you bought 52,000 tons, that alone is 4.2 million. So if you are making 1.5, is Vivian telling me that as a prudent accountant that she is it doing the degree cover? You know, as I told you in the afternoon, we left a handing over notes to her predecessor. Unfortunately, she was not there. She's the third FNA. She was the deputy audit manager, and in 2021 promoted. The handing over notes was 289 million cedis as the debt, and that one was for 42.5 million investment in Golden Bee, 38 million in Bupe, 10 million in the office where they are living now. Since we left in 2016, you heard that the gentleman said that they've not even increased 1% salary. The curtains and every furniture in that place, they've not even changed anything.
But we had Vivian also mention that in 2020, 2021, they had cash flow, no issues. They were able to pay workers and do all that they needed to do. But I would want to find out, it's not everyone that listened to you on the midday news. You mentioned that you left the company in a solid state. I would want to find out really for you, what is your understanding of this particular issue that the PBC is facing, knowing that you served in various capacities in the company?
Yes, I was the deputy managing director of operations and then the acting chief executive until I left in 2017. And as I'm saying, that investment that we did, it was that in 4 years, it will make returns on their own. And as she said, we had a staff strength of terminal 1,178. And even though the Golden Bean and Bupe staff were on, we were still paying them from this our margins. And then when we commissioned them, we said in 4 years, they will be on their own. Yesterday, he alluded to Kwajo Yansen that Golden Bean is making profit. So then now the question that comes up is that if 2014 invest for 42.5 million plus interest and you are paying, and now today you yourself allude that is making profit, where then is your returns that is make the losses? So that is why I'm saying we left it in a good position. Okay. Again, come to Bupe. If you have an industry where you do 200 tons a day, so granted admitting that even if it's 80%, it's 160 tons. 160 tons by 330 days is 52,800. When you do the share extraction, it is 25,344 at $1,400. My sister, it is $390 million cedis. You see, this business, if you divide it by the margin of 789, it's equivalent to 404,000 tons business, which is for only 200 workers. Don't you think this is a prudent institution that you have to put your money in? And this is where they themselves, in 2019, Golden Bean and Bupe brought them money to pay the May and June salaries at PBC. Okay. So if it's not a prudent investment, how could one put it in? And this is where, as I'm saying, that it was in a solid state. Okay. So now the 289, if it's now 700 million, as she's alluded, where is the difference of that shortages that have added on? Because can they point any one investment and say that we also put this money into this? And this is what has brought us into this activity.
Well, thankfully, Nana, we have Vivian Bwedi on the line as well. I know that this is an issue that we are delving into extensively.
Yeah, we need to clarify it. Yes.
Much later. But let me bring in Vivian. Vivian, thank you so much for joining us. Earlier in your discussions on the Super Morning Show, you were saying that this current administration cannot be blamed for the situation as we see it. But we've been hearing from the former administration, the former CEO, Nana Jenimwati, on the other line. And for him, you cannot say that the former administration should be blamed for everything that the PBC see now. In fact, they left it in a solid state. You still agree, or you will still stand by the fact that this current administration cannot be blamed when you only left a debt of 289 million. Now we are seeing 700 million.
Good evening to your listeners. I believe Nana, as indicated, is a senior brother, and I don't want to have this argument with Nana. But as Nana would say, yes, he left 289 million. I'm not disputing it because I don't have the facts in front of me. I don't have his handing over note. However, in my speech, I said I took over 715 million loss, debt, 495 to banks, 46 million to Cocoa Board, 126 to note holders, the rest to staff and statutory deduction. So I'm not saying I took over from Nana 200. I never said I took over from him. And as he has alluded this evening, he didn't hand over to me. But when I was taking over, the debt for PBC was 715 million.
So when you say the current administration cannot be blamed for the downward trend of the PBC, which administration then are you blaming this on?
Myself and the former CEO, that's the late Honorable Opekwediya, we took over. He came in 2020 and I took over from 2021. Before then, there were other CEOs and other directors of finance. But as at the time we were taking over, the debt for PBC was 715 billion. And please, I don't want us to go. I know you have very discerning listeners. Please, you can go on PBC's website. All the financials from the inception of the company to date is there. You can check the current liabilities, the total liabilities from the period of incorporation till date, and that will pretty much inform us as to where we are going. I realize based on figures and facts that I have, and per what I have, and per what my handing over note states, I had 750 million, and that is what we inherited.
And Jenimwati made it clear that he only came. Vivian, he only came in because you traced some of the issues to 2013. Can you hear me, Vivian?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Vivian?
Yes, I can hear you.
I was saying that Nana Jenim came in because you traced some of the concerns or the issues with the company to 2013.
So, in 2013, I never said the market share started dropping in 2013. I said we started making losses, and that is also verifiable per our account. Now, accumulation of losses, definitely the banks and other financial institutions that would lend to you would not look at you the same way when you were making 8 million loss as against when you were making 172 million loss. So that is the point I'm driving at. So the conditions are different, and that there are different periods and there are different conditions we are talking about. In one condition, we have the solid support of the financial market. PBC had its own note program; it was running. Cocoa Board seed fund was available. We had banks, we have overdraft, and the rest. Okay. So yes, we could make that on it. However, accumulation of losses has led us to the point where now none of the banks is willing to lend to us, and that is where I want us to look at. So I'm not putting the blame on former management, or what I'm saying is that if you...
But this current administration also would take its share in terms of the losses that the company is making. Is that the case?
Can you please come again?
I'm asking that you would not also absolve this current administration of blame when it comes to the fortunes of PBC.
No, you can definitely, once you are managing and you are not able to buy, and as he alluded, PBC runs on margins. So the more you buy, the more margins you get. And how do you buy? You need funds to buy. So if we have the seed fund, if we have the bankers giving us funding at a reasonable rate, if we had other sources of finance which was available some time ago to be able to run this company, definitely we wouldn't expect the company to be in loss. That is why I said in 2021 season, when we were able to buy 107,000 metric tons, that time we were able to pay our staff salaries to the end of the year. But when we bought the 52,000 metric tons, which we did last year, because that was the amount of money available to us. And for the record, every money that Cocoa Board has given to us, we've been able to supply the beans to that tune. So it's the margins that is insufficient to run the company. So nobody is playing. That's why, in fact, yesterday I said, from some strategic decisions that we made to date has brought PBC to where we are now.
Okay. Well, Vivian, we'll leave it here because I know that this evening would delve deeper into this particular issue on PM Express. But Nana, just very briefly before I let you off, because we'll talk more on PM Express this evening. It appears that you can't also say that your administration cannot take a bit of the blame when it comes to the fortunes of PBC. Can you?
No, I mean, you know that now. What she mentioned to Kwejo and what she said this morning is different from what she's saying this evening. She said that 2013 is when we started making the losses. And like you are saying, that we'll delve deep in at 9 p.m. I'll walk you down the journey of how this business operates. And then you factor in a certain percentage because you cannot make losses. And then how do you recover your losses? And this 289 million, which will delve deep, is something that we had the understanding with the banks that we are taking this money for this investment, and this is how we want to let it work. Well, they agreed. So Car Bank was 100 million, EcoBank was 80 million, Barclays was 70 million, Societe Generale was 45, and that is the money. So
okay. Well, Nana, don't give it all away. All roads lead to PM Express at 9 p.m. on the Joy News channel. Also on all our social media platforms. PBC Troubles is on the front burner on PM Express tonight with Evans Mensah. You don't want to miss it.
You're still live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, the Finance Ministry's joint technical committee with bondholders is now set to begin work, but some individual bondholder groups say they will not participate because they are unhappy that the Finance Ministry and government in general has failed, despite many attempts to remind government to pay up coupons and interest, have failed to pay up and has also failed to communicate a proper schedule to pay up. And so they say they will not participate. However, one of the groups, the Individual Bondholders Forum, say they will participate and are making proposals, including swapping matured principals with treasury bills anytime government is unable to meet its repayment commitments. Now, the bondholders have in the last few weeks been demanding repayment of matured bonds, with the Pensioner Bondholders Forum serving notice of picketing the Finance Ministry from the 28th April. Convener of the Individual Bondholders Forum, Senior Hossi, says the committee will begin its work.
This one actually comes up with solutions on a mechanism to address the payment
the outstanding
of not just outstanding. I mean, government's challenge is simple. We have liquidity crisis, and that's why they are working with, trying to work around the pension funds thing to minimize the liquidity burden. We want to pay you. They restated their commitment to their obligation, to pay. And we must all remember, we are not the only people who are owing government right now who are not being paid. The Eurobond commercial international bondholders are also not being paid. And for them, there's even no clarity at all. That uncertainty doesn't work for anybody. Our mandate is to create certainty for our members. So we agreed that we'll be in that meeting. We'll be in that technical committee and come up with a structure. Recommendations were requested, a payment structure that works for everybody. And I would want us to look at it more thoroughly. And that's the thinking of everybody, that we come up with a systemic strategy that almost cures the problem across the profile of all the debts. So we are not looking at just solving the problem with what's outstanding today. We're also looking at what's likely going to also face challenges going forward. We are going to be facing liquidity challenges as a country for quite a while. That period, we can't fully put a nail on, but there should be a structure to deal with crisis as far as liquidity is concerned when bills are due. Our foremost recommendation is that government must immediately be paying the coupons cash, because that's not the bigger part of the burden. The big part of the burden is really the maturity. I mean the principals. With the principals, we tabled a recommendation that is more skewed around swapping that for treasury bills as and when they fall due.
Well, the Pensioner Bondholders Forum say they are not interested in this arrangement. This is Dr. Edwana Nientwi. He is the convener for that group.
Self-exempted people structuring away with the government. But for those of us who were issuer exempted, we are not interested in that. And we are not part of the committee. We are not part of any arrangement whatsoever. We are ensuring that we are going to ensure that we get paid when it is due. And you can leave that to us. We fought for the issuer exemption, not for nothing.
There's no such.
We had two groups. So they can do the issuer exemption. It's a better option. And we would demand that the government pays us as and when it is due. And we have all the means to do.
Well, let's speak to a convener of the Individual Bondholders Association of Ghana, Yao Subrefo, joins us on the telephone line right now. Hello, Yao. Thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Hi, Evans. Let me make a correction. I'm one of the conveners of the Individual Bondholders Forum.
Yao, thank you very much. So, tell me, you are part of the conversations that the committee is holding?
Yes.
And as it stands right now, the proposal that I've heard Senior just articulate, which is that what you have is one that will convert some of the bonds as they mature to treasury bills. How would that work?
It's not an entirely bad idea. It works, but it depends on the government's liquidity position. There's a limit to how much treasury bills the government can issue in a year. And so the government will need to come out clearly, open up, and let's see what is workable. We understand the liquidity challenges, but if the government can promise transparency that it can settle some of the bonds with, let's say, 91 treasury bills, 182-day bills, and then maybe complete it in a year, it will still be workable to a lot of our members. But we need transparency. We need certainty. We can't just accept that the government will issue treasury bills to pay them, and then when they are due, it becomes another problem, and another technical committee will be required to settle that. We won't accept that one.
And when next is the committee due to sit? And I wonder what the government's take is on this proposal that has been made.
Tomorrow, the committee starts this meeting tomorrow. So tomorrow we will interrogate this matter critically and see what legal regime will moderate this new arrangement that the government is bringing, because treasury bills and bonds are not moderated by the same regime. So we want to understand if a bond is matured, it's supposed to be settled. And so if the government is trying to issue a new bill, we have to understand the terms. It's not just paper money that you are giving us. We have to be convinced that if any bill is issued in 91 days or 182 days, the bondholder or the previous bondholder can now get his money cashed out when the T-bill matures. So tomorrow at the meeting, we will interrogate this thing further, and at the end of the day, we should have some clarity on what government wants to do with that proposal.
Yeah, thank you very much. And that conversation continues tomorrow. We'll see what the government position is on that proposal on the table. It's time for business, and Beverly is here with the latest. Hello, Bev.
Hi, Evans. Coming up in business, the LPG Marketers Association is warning that prices of LPG will witness a further hike if government refuses to take a second look at the taxes on the commodity. Business News on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery and Alliance Life. I am Beverly Brom. We take a look at the details now. And the Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers Association has renewed calls for some taxes on the commodity to be removed. LPG prices witnessed a jump by 8% in the second pricing window. There are currently about 13 different taxes and levies on the commodity. Now, speaking to Joy Business, the vice president of the association, Gabriel Kumi, said government's posture of not reducing taxes on LPG could discourage its usage, derailing the gains made to stop the use of charcoal.
We will not stop calling on government to remove taxes on LPG, because it doesn't really make sense that the product you want to see its consumption go up, you put taxes on it. Why are Cote d'Ivoire and other West Africa countries even subsidizing the product? But we have put taxes. We believe that taxes are the first step government must take to ensure that the price of LPG comes down. One will say how much the price is if the taxes are removed and crude oil still goes up, we will still have the same effect. I'll say no. Any peswa that you put on the price of LPG goes a long way to decrease its consumption. And once the taxes are addition to the cost price of LPG, you can see that the taxes are having negative effects on consumption. So no matter how high crude oil price go, once the taxes of the product are taken off, we are likely to make some gains in terms of consumption.
You heard the Vice President of the LPG Marketers Association, Gabriel Kumi. Now, the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry is casting doubts over government's ability to rake in the 4 billion Ghana cedi revenue targets from the 3 new tax laws: the Excise Duty Amendment Bill, the Growth and Sustainability Bill, and the Income Tax Amendment Bill were recently passed by Parliament as part of its domestic revenue mobilization efforts in response to an austerity agreement with the IMF. But the CEO of the chamber, Mark Bedu-Abuaji, said the tax will rather make businesses unprofitable.
We are law-abiding citizens, and once it's a law, we encourage our members just to abide by the taxes. But if you are not making profit, there is nothing that you can do. I also have a challenge whether we'll be able to meet this 4 billion that they are looking for. Well, the first quarter is gone. Secondly, the businesses that are going to pay these taxes, they are not making their profit. So what profit are you going to tax? Thirdly, they are collapsing. And the businesses that are also going to employ people for them to even to pay the payee are also not doing well to employ people. So the taxes that you are looking for, you may not get it. And the purpose for which you are bringing taxes will be defeated.
And that's the end of the business news on News9, brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business, Kingdom Books and Stationery and Alliance Life. I am Beverly Broom Evans. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Bev. And you're still live here on News9. Also enjoy 99.7 FM. And I want to hear from you, 055-11-11997.
And Evans, earlier today on the drive time on Joy 99.7 FM, it started on its usual exciting tone, and a talk that engaged listeners on the things that stressed them. But little did the host, Lexis Bill, expect to hear from a suicidal man, a caller who was literally on his way to end it all. They've been talking about how most men are engaged in suicide than women. You know that survey that came out. But let's hear what transpired.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. What's your name?
My name is Justice.
All right, Justice. You're welcome. Let's hear you.
I'm short of words and just don't know what to say, because I don't know what pushed me to just turn on my radio to listen to Joy FM. I even plan of committing suicide. I'm going through a lot marital problem.
Okay.
And I don't know who to talk to.
Right.
Just don't know who to talk to. But your program has been very helpful to me this afternoon.
Okay.
And we are going through emotional torture. I'm telling you. Seriously.
I can hear that in your voice, Justice.
Yes.
But
yes. I don't have anybody to talk to.
No, now you do, actually.
Yes. Yes.
Now you do. You have a friend on the radio. So just calm down for now. I can hear a lot of pain in your voice.
Yes.
But I think you are probably the reason why we're having this conversation, because as men, we have to be there for each other. Yeah?
Sure.
And the good thing is, look, we're here for you, okay? Okay. So for now, I just need you to calm down. Okay?
Okay.
Are you at home?
Currently, I just took my rope, went outside somewhere, and
you took your rope?
Yes.
Okay.
I almost committed suicide this afternoon.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know what. I'll just put on my radio and in my car and.
Yeah. Okay. So you are in your car now?
Come again.
So you are in your car now?
Yes, please.
Are you at home, by the way?
Not at home, a bit far from my house.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you know what we're going to do, bro?
I need your help.
Don't worry, okay?
I need your help, yes.
Don't worry, we're here for you, okay?
Okay.
So what we're going to do is this. I need you to talk to the first person you spoke to, that's my producer, right?
Okay.
And leave your phone number with him, okay?
Okay.
My team is going to get in touch with you very shortly.
Okay.
We're going to connect you to somebody who will be there for you, yeah?
Okay.
So don't end it at all, okay?
Okay.
Are you going to promise me that?
Yes.
Justice?
Yes, please.
Justice?
Yes, please.
It's okay, yeah?
Okay.
Don't worry. We'll be there for you, okay?
Okay.
Well, that's what transpired earlier today on Drive Time. Rather unfortunate situation. And Crispy is one of the producers of Drive Time. He actually picked the call. He's the one that Lexis referred to as his producer, that he should speak to the guy after he spoke to him on air. And I know there have been some interventions, Crispy. What's happened after that?
Currently, they've met with the guy. He came over to the studio. Lexis, the gentleman, I would withhold his name for now, and a mental health professional. They are currently in a meeting, trying to discuss whatever happened and find a way forward. So yeah, that's what happened. Right.
Okay, thank you very much, Crispy.
You're
there, one of the producers of Drive Time.
And you are live here on Joy 99.7 FM. We will take you to a live game in the Champions League pretty shortly. But listen, if you are also suicidal right now, there's help for you. Reach out and get help. And indeed, if you know somebody who is also contemplating or showing signs of it, you must urgently seek help for that person as well. And we're hoping that as intervention has now been rolled out by the team here, this individual will pull back from the brink.